Hi everyone. So instead of doing a video of a mashup of multiple videos or doing a video with images to explain why people are atheists or beliefs behind atheism, I decided to do my own video as to why I'm an atheist. Growing up, I was raised in a very strict home that we were Catholic. We were taught Catholic ways and Catholic beliefs, and I always felt that I was different from the rest of my family when it came to religious beliefs. I always strayed from Catholicism and the thoughts behind it. I couldn't understand where their practices came from. I would go to my grandmother's house when I was younger, and there'd be, saints all over the house, and she would perform these rituals with these saints. If she was missing something and couldn't find it, she would take the baby off of Saint Martine and wrap it up and put it in the drawer, and she would tell the saint that she would return his child if he found what she was missing. That didn't seem logical to me. My mom would always light a candle with the Sacred Heart of Jesus before she'd go to the bingo, in case she would win. Looking back at it now, it was really ridiculous. But then it was just, I was little, so it was kind of like, so if you do something to these people, or you light a candle, all your wishes will come true. It's kind of like rubbing a lamp and a genie popping out. But God was that genie for my parents and my family. I found that it was hard to believe in somebody that wasn't there. Somebody I couldn't just go to his house and talk to him or visit him. And the only way I could communicate with him is going to church and performing confession and basically communicating to him with a middleman. That it didn't make sense to me. If I wanted to go talk to my mom, I would go to my mom. If I wanted to talk to my sisters, I would go to my sister. But in order to talk to God, I had to go to another man for him to send the message to God. It wasn't logical to me at a very young age. As I got older, I started to question it. I think I was like around, 7 or 8. And I would ask, my parents, my family members, and people around me, what evidence they had of God's existence. And they would look at me with such disgust. My mom would ask me, why are you asking this, Anna? What makes you question? Why would you even think about questioning our Lord's existence? What they didn't understand is that them giving me these questions in return made me question it even more. The thought of following a book that was written by man, and that's the book we're to live by. I couldn't separate the logic of following that book, but yet being told I couldn't eat green eggs and ham in a box with a fox. As I got older, my thoughts about it, about the belief in God, dissolved. And that's when I started to question his existence within myself. And the lack of evidence to prove that he existed. It was just hard to believe in something that I couldn't see and that there was no proof that he ever existed. I was about 14 when my grandmother passed away in our home. It was the day after Thanksgiving in 1997. And hours before that, I had actually went into her room and held her hand and talked to her as she's sleeping. And then I turned to what I had been taught was God. And I asked him to stop her pain, to stop her from suffering. The next morning I woke up to my mom screaming. My grandma was gone. And at the age of 14, and knowing that hours before that I had asked to stop her pain, and yet he took her away, because I still believed in God then, I damned him. I damned him. And I told my family, I damn him. And, my family was just disgusted. They were all very religious. And they tried to explain to me that God had answered my prayers. And at 14, I had said, no, he didn't. I asked him to stop her pain, not take her away. So I damned him. How awful of me, a 14-year-old who just lost her grandmother, damned God. I was going to go to hell. I'm still waiting for that. As I continued to seek answers, I decided at that time, around that time, still being about 14, 15, that I was agnostic, because I didn't know if there was a God. I didn't know if he ever existed. I didn't know. So I decided that I was agnostic. So a few years passed, and people would ask me about religion and going to church, and I would say, I don't know. I don't know about God. I don't know if there is a God. I was about 19 when I sat down and thought about it one day, and I decided there's no facts, there's no proof, there's no evidence. The only thing that I had was what I was taught at a young age, seeing other religions and their teachings of God, them all being different, knowing that there were gods before our God, that had performed the same, miracles, but yet our God was the God, but yet there was no evidence behind it. And I came to the conclusion that I don't believe in a God. I don't believe in religion. I don't believe that he ever existed, because there's no evidence to prove he did. So at 19, I became, and was probably always, an atheist, but I had come to the conclusion that I was an atheist at 19. And now here I am at 29, 10 years later, and I'm an atheist. I know I am. I have been for 10 years, and I simply come to the conclusion that anything that leaves me with questions due to the lack of evidence, whether it's scientific, physical, documented evidence, I simply can't allow myself to fall for it. If I could, then I would still believe in the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus. In the end, I feel like I was born atheist. I think we were all born atheist. None of us fell out of our mothers or were cut out of our mothers with Bibles in hand. Religion was taught to us. It was not something that we were born with. And I also have a message to all those people out there that want to damn us for not believing in their God or not believing in a God. I just want to say to them, Quaid non cogit Cenobis Deum. Figure that one out.